always be
subscribing,
always be
subscribing,
always be
subscribing,
always be
subscribing. What's up, everybody? It's your boy again, the Unabonger, and today I want to take a look at a article I've seen recently about a writer who fingered the wrong guy that supposedly her. But first, don't forget to sign up to the Humaine Garbeige email list to stay in touch when we get kicked off of YouTube, because you know it's going to happen eventually, and to get a free ebook. And if you want to support the channel financially, please consider purchasing one of our t-shirt designs at spreadshirt.com. Links in description. So the other day on Twitter, this kind of popped up in a few different places and kind of caught my eye. Alice Sebold apologizes to man wrongfully convicted of her. I've got bad news, guys. The feminists are at it again. Let's delve into this article a little bit, shall we? Anthony Broadwater spent 16 years in prison after the author identified him as her and an assault she described in her memoir, Lucky. Its publisher said Tuesday that it would stop distributing the book. Yeah, wouldn't that be nice if a woman who wrongfully accused a man of her didn't profit from it? Let's take a look at this article from the New York Times. Alice Sebold, the best-selling author of the memoir Lucky and the novel The Lovely Bones, apologized publicly on Tuesday to a man who was wrongfully convicted of her in 1982 after she had identified him in court as her. The apology came 8 days after the conviction of the man, Anthony J. Broadwater, was vacated by a state court judge in Syracuse, New York, who concluded, in consultation with the local district attorney and Mr. Broadwater's lawyers, that the case against him was deeply flawed, i.e. made up completely. As a result of the conviction, Mr. Broadwater, 61, spent 16 years in prison before being released in 1998 and was forced to register as a sex offender. In a statement posted on the website Medium, Miss Sebold, who described the and the ensuing trial in Lucky, said she regretted having unwittingly. We're gonna have to read her thing in a minute after this. Said she regretted having unwittingly played a part in a system that sent an innocent man to jail. Jesus. This, again, feminism, again, all this Me Too bullshit. Nobody ever wants to take the blame for anything, do they? I am sorry most of all for the fact that the life you could have led was unjustly robbed from you, she wrote, and I know that no apology can change what happened to you and never will. It has taken me these past 8 days to comprehend how this could have happened. Well, you dumb you went to the cops and you said, hey, that me. That's how this happened, you dumb Miss Sebold's statement was reported earlier by the Associated Press. Her publisher, Scrivener, said she was not available for additional comment. Finally, a writer that was smart enough to lock down their Twitter account. Brilliant! Scrivener said last week that it had no plans to update the memoir's text based on Mr. Broadwater's exoneration. But on Tuesday, the company said it would cease distribution of Lucky while it and Miss Sebold consider how the work might be revised. It's completely made up. It's a made-up story of something that happened to a black man that was bad, and it was this woman's direct action that did that. You shouldn't publish the book anymore. You shouldn't rewrite it. You shouldn't try to fix it so you can continue to make money off of the misery of somebody else. You should not publish it anymore. And if you had any ethical sensibilities at all, you'd already know that. You wouldn't have to be told that. Mr. Broadwater, in an interview with the New York Times on Tuesday, said he was relieved and grateful for Miss Sebold's apology. It took a lot of courage, and I guess she's brave and weathering through the storm like I am, he said. To make that statement, it's a strong thing for her to do, understanding that she was a victim and I was a victim too. You were in prison for 16 years wrongfully. It's okay to be about it. You don't have to eat her fart box. Uncle Tom. Miss Sebold was 18 and a student at Syracuse University when the that led to Mr. Broadwater's wrongful conviction occurred. In Lucky, which was published in 1999, she gives a searing account of the and of the trauma she subsequently endured. She also writes in detail about the trial and about how she became convinced she had recognized Mr. Broadwater, whom she referred to with a pseudonym in the book, as her after passing him on the streets months later after the The memoir chronicles mishaps in the case, including the fact that a composite sketch of her attacker, based on her description, did not resemble him. There's your first clue that this is wrong, guys. Let's not have that get in our way and stop us now, huh? The book also describes Miss Sebold's fear that the prosecution might be derailed after she identified a different man, not Mr. Broadwater, in a police lineup. So obviously it was more important to this victim that somebody pay for this crime that allegedly happened to her. It didn't matter who. She should have just went to Harlem with the blindfold on and started spinning around with her finger out until she found her. Later, she identified Mr. Broadwater as her in court. After a brief trial, he was convicted of first-degree and 5 other charges. Lucky started Miss Sebold's career and paved the way for her breakout novel, The Lovely Bones, which also centers on sex that is also made up. It has sold millions of copies and was made into a feature film. Although Miss Sebold gave Mr. Broadwater the fictitious name Gregory Madison in the memoir, he said he had been forced to suffer the stigma of being branded as even after being released from prison. He had always insisted he was innocent and was denied parole several times for refusing to acknowledge guilt. He took 2 polygraph tests decades apart with experts who determined that his account was truthful. Man, this story gets more up all the time. How is this woman not in prison? I knew there was a good reason why I hate. He tried repeatedly over the years to hire lawyers to help prove his innocence. Those efforts were unsuccessful until recently, when a planned film adaptation of Lucky helped raise new questions about the case. Timothy Musianti, I don't know how to say the name, sorry buddy, who was working as executive producer on the film version, said in an interview with The Times that he had started to doubt Miss Sebold's account after reading the memoir and the script earlier this year. Oh my god, dude. So this was so glaringly obvious to somebody in Hollywood that this was fake, that he said, you know what? Changed my mind. I don't want to make money off this. This is so fakey. Maybe I need to turn this over to the Popo instead. Hilarious. Mr. McContie said he had been struck by how little evidence was presented at Mr. Broadwater's trial. He said he had been fired from the production after raising questions about the story. Wow. Wow. So he wasn't even a big person in it. Hey, he got fired. He was the only one to say, this sounds a little made up, guys. It seemed like Anthony was wrong, Mr. McCarty told The Times. Mr. McCarty hired a private investigator, Dan Myers, who had spent 20 years with the sheriff's office in Onondaga County, New York, before retiring as a detective in 2020. After finding and interviewing Mr. Broadwater, Mr. Myers became convinced he had been falsely accused. Mr. Myers, who shares office space with the law firm, recommended that Mr. Broadwater hire one of the lawyers there, J. David Hammond. Mr. Hammond reviewed the investigation and agreed that there was a strong argument for setting the conviction aside. In their motion to vacate the conviction, Mr. Hammond and a second lawyer, Melissa K. Swartz, argued that the case rested entirely on 2 flawed elements: Miss Sebold's courtroom identification of Mr. Broadwater, and a now discredited method of microscopic hair analysis. Mr. McConte's production company, Red Badge Films, is now working on a documentary about the case. Unlucky, with his second production company, Red Hawk Films. Get it? Get it? I like the, yeah, I like how we're definitely turning this around and, looking at this from a different and probably more correct perspective. Mr. Broadwater and those who helped vacate the conviction are also participating. In her statement, Miss Sebold expressed sorrow that in seeking justice for herself, she had harmed Mr. Broadwater beyond the 16 years he was incarcerated in ways that further served to wound and stigmatize nearly a full life sentence. She also sounded anguished over a question that remains unsolved. I will also grapple, she wrote, with the fact that my will, in all likelihood, never be known. You know what? There is this really fucked up part of me, I agree, that just imagines this scenario where the guy who this is 100% aware of it, read the book when it came out, was laughing all the way to the bank, maybe with this little secret in his heart that he didn't dare tell anybody. You know, most times this would be pretty fucked up to say, and it still is, but I'm gonna say it anyway. Maybe she deserved it. You know, I kind of picture this scenario in my head now. It's like the I Am Spartacus scene where everybody just starts standing up and going, I her. No, I that It was I who that I her. I her. I her. let's take a look real quick at what she had to say about this whole deal. Now, let's take a look at this really passive-aggressive, fake apology from Alice Sebold. She doesn't even call it an apology. She says a statement. First, I want to say that I am truly sorry to Anthony Broadwater, and I deeply regret what you have been through. I'm going to be your editor here. Let's strike that and actually quit being a f*** about this. And I deeply regret that I wrongly accused you of me and got you falsely convicted and thrown in prison for 16 years. You are a garbage writer already. I am sorry most of all for the fact that the life you could have led was unjustly robbed from you by me. And I know that no apology can change what happened to you and never will. And I know that no apology can change what I did to you and never will. Therefore, you get to sue me. Therefore, I should give you every cent that I made from that fake book to you, right? Yeah, that's the part that comes next, I'll bet. Of the many things I wish for you. Wow, what a piece of shit. Of the many things I wish for you, I hope most of all that you and your family will be granted the time and privacy to heal. You know what's going to help him heal? When a lawyer sues the living out of you and takes every cent you wrongfully made, you treacherous 40 years ago, as a traumatized 18-year-old victim, I chose to put my faith in the American legal system. I chose to falsely finger a get him thrown in jail because, hey, somebody needs to go away for this, and they're definitely going to take my word over some in the street, right? My goal in 1982 was justice, not to perpetuate injustice, and certainly not to forever and irreparably alter a young man's life by the very crime that had altered mine, and alter a young man's life by lying on the witness stand. I am grateful that Mr. Broadwater has finally been vindicated, but the fact remains that 40 years ago, he became another black man brutalized by our flawed legal system. Again, this Me Too feminist bullshit. These will never ever take responsibility for their own actions, and they will do this lawyer talk bullshit all day long to justify people over and trying to make you think it's something other than what it actually is. I will forever be sorry for what was done to him. I will forever be sorry for what I did to him, is how that should actually read, you disingenuous Today, American society is starting to acknowledge and address the systemic issues in our judiciary system that too often means that justice for some comes at the expense of others. So, what you're really saying there is, hey, I needed to have my justice, and this. That's how you say that, right? Unfortunately, this was not a debate or a conversation or even a whisper when I reported my in 1981. Man, the mental gymnastics. What a complete garbage human being. It has taken me these past 8 days to comprehend how this could have happened, and it took him 16 years of sitting in the clink to comprehend how this could have happened to him. What a me. But let's bring it back to the most important thing, guys. This is about me. Hey, guys, don't forget, I was here. Really. It really happened. You know, here's my question at this point, and I'd probably have to do some real digging to find this if it's even out there. Was there a kid in this? Did some put on a glove and shove a finger up her even to see if she was actually or did this make that up even? I guess we've got to question that now, don't we? I will continue to struggle with the role that I unwittingly played within a system that sent an innocent man to jail. Jesus. I will also grapple with the fact that my in all likelihood will never be known and may have gone on to other women and certainly will never serve the time in prison that Mr. Broadwater did. Well, somebody paid the debt. That's all that really matters to you, right? Throughout my life, I have always tried to act with integrity and to speak from a place of honesty. You tried, but you failed. And so, I state here clearly that I will remain sorry for the rest of my life while pursuing justice through the legal system. My own misfortune resulted in Mr. Broadwater's unfair conviction, for which he has served not only 16 years behind bars, but in ways that further serve to wound and stigmatize nearly a full life sentence. What a piece of shit. Guys, there are some of you out there that I'm sure are lucky enough to have never experienced a crazy woman. They do exist. Unfortunately, they are more prevalent than anybody knows, and they can ruin your life. This goes to show you they don't even have to know you. You didn't even have to stick it in, and they can ruin your life. I'll tell you what the funny part of this story is in my up mind? She probably did get a hit, and it was probably somebody she willingly had sex with. Maybe she just wanted to up some random dude's life. That's not out of the realm of possibility, unfortunately. Also, I hope there are impending lawsuits, and I hope that in those lawsuits, some of the stuff that is revealed is basically the emails back and forth between this woman and this publisher. Once shit started hitting the fan, it might be interesting to see if she revealed herself in something that she thought might not ever come out. Anyway, guys, I just kind of wanted to point that out. Women be shopping ain't the only thing they be doing. And also, this, hey, we're trying to do more book-related things here, more literature-related things, kind of more the book market instead of comic book market. But what I'll be expounding on more in the future is the publishing industry, the book publishing industry in particular, is pretty insulary and pretty f***ed up. And there's a lot of gatekeepers there, and they publish shit like this. The publishing industry has 100% turned into a who you know and who you blow sort of deal. They have multi-million-dollar advances and upfront money for name politicians like Hillary Clinton who are publishing a book that honestly are probably not making that money back. I kind of feel publishing in a lot of ways has turned into, like a lot of things, like the original art sales racket. It's a racket where you can kind of put whatever price on this perceived thing. It doesn't necessarily have to have that. It's a way to launder money, in my opinion. But anyway, that's something to talk about another day. Anyway, guys, that is all I have got for you this time. Don't forget to subscribe to the Humaine Garbeige email list to stay in touch with us and get a free ebook. And if you want to support the channel, please consider purchasing one of our t-shirt designs from Spreadshirt.com. If this is your first time watching a Humaine Garbeige video, please hit the subscribe button and click the bell to get notifications of new videos sent directly to your phone and inbox. Check out the uncensored version of this video at bitshoot.com/channel/Humaine Garbeige. Follow us on social media at Humaine Garbeige. Stay tuned for another video from Humaine Garbeige. And as always, remember to hit the pipe harder than you hit your wife and kids.